Mrs. Jackie Parks here shares with us how she has gone through depression and come through it. It was the very illness that brought her into agony that paved the way for a spiritual communion with God, that made her feel the ecstasy and see the glimpse of the promised heaven. Her then 11-year-old daughter, Elizabeth, tells us how she helped her mother.
November is often a painful time for me. 8 years ago, after the birth of my 10th child, Jacinta, in October 2000, I was plunged into a darkness so deep it was unbelievable. Something went very wrong with my head, such that I, super mom of 9, couldn't seem to dress the baby with ease. Things reached the point where my mind retreated, leaving a shell. Andrew, my husband, took over the complete care of the baby and the other 9 children. Our magnificent eldest, Jennifer, was just 13 and helped enormously. After 4 weeks, I called a doctor. Thus began the strangest thing. She was a convert from New Zealand, and the first thing she asked us was if we would like to pray a decade of the Rosary with her. I thought to myself, there must be a God. Every visit she made thereafter began with prayer. However, my illness was going to be a very lengthy and excruciatingly painful one for everyone. Father Paul Chavas, superior of the Birmingham Oratory and postulator of the cause of Cardinal John Henry Newman, often talks about the modern man having a fear of death. This always touches a nerve because there is a different kind of fear of death and dying. It is a common symptom of a severe, life-threatening and disabling depression. Something happens to the brain's chemicals, and all one can think of is death, dying, suffering. It is intensely painful. The pain of severe depression is perhaps not really understood by those who have not experienced it. Prior to this, I had no idea what it meant. Surely, they could pull themselves together. Anyway, how come I, with wonderful friends and family, had depression since I was extremely happy at delivering a 10th healthy child? So began a regime of treatments, 8 antidepressants, false days of recovery, only to relapse, terrific weight gain, a cruel side effect of psychiatric medications, inability to function, becoming bedridden, the list went on. After a full year, they put me on lithium, and then I began a slow, arduous, painstaking recovery. I made myself get up, get dressed, exercise, but it was automatic. Pain, agony, and with severe depression, you just go lower and lower, and then you are consumed with thoughts of suicide, but without any attempt at it, called suicidal ideation. It scared the wits out of me. I asked the doctors why I was thinking of such a thing. It is very common in acute depression. This was enormously frightening to the whole family. By the grace of God alone, I never acted on the thoughts or made a suicide attempt, but take it from me, don't think that anyone is exempt at some point from doing so. This is why legalized suicide is so terrible. In 2005, I had another breakdown, having come off my medications and thinking I was over my postnatal depression. I was diagnosed with bipolar affective disorder, also known as manic depressive illness. Did I always have this? Perhaps I had always been very high functioning, but had experienced no real depression, and certainly no mania. This episode was truly horrific in a different way. They put me on a drug called risperidone, and so began a side effect called akathisia. This is an extremely unpleasant subjective sensation of inner restlessness that manifests itself with an inability to sit still or remain motionless, hence the origin of its name, Greek for without sitting. It can lead to an almost indescribable sense of terror and doom. In some cases, it can be so severe that the patient is literally compelled to take action, leading possibly to suicide attempts. It is often misdiagnosed. The doctors didn't pick up my situation until I was literally running up and down continuously in front of them.